Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something today. The heart you gave true love to, it will never be able to forget you. I don't care how long it's been. I don't care if they got a new job, a new car, or even a new person. That kind of love, that soul-touching, ride or die, I see you for who you are kind of love, it don't fade. It leaves a stamp, not on the calendar, on the heart. And stamps like that don't get erased. True love is not something you give lightly. And when you give it from the deepest part of your heart, it becomes unforgettable. It marks the soul like a fingerprint. You can't wash it off, you can't replace it, and you sure can't deny it once it's there. That kind of love doesn't show up every day. It's not a temporary emotion or something that fades with distance or time. It's an energy that lives on in someone's heart long after you're gone. See, people remember who made them feel safe, who loved them in their weakest moments, who looked at their flaws and said, I still choose you. That's the kind of love that stays. That's the kind of love that teaches even after it's gone. And the heart that received it, that heart changes. It grows from it. It searches for it again, even when it pretends it's moved on. You might not see the impact right away because not everyone knows how to show gratitude when love is present. But the absence of that love becomes its loudest proof. They may try to fill the space with noise, distractions, other people, but there's no substitute for real love. None. The more real it was, the harder it is to forget. Sometimes it takes years, sometimes just a quiet night alone. But that heart will remember your laughter, your loyalty, your presence when they needed someone and didn't know how to ask. And even if they never say it out loud, you live in that space where only truth exists, where games can survive and where love once came in raw and honest. That's where you are. And that's why that heart, the one you gave true love to, will never forget you. When you give love purely from the bottom of your heart, it's not something that disappears when the relationship ends or the contact fades. That energy, that intention, that emotion you poured into someone doesn't just evaporate. It settles into the fabric of their being. Even if they act like they don't care, even if they walk away like it meant nothing, deep down, your love left an imprint. And what's real can't be undone. The power of true love is that it doesn't demand attention. It simply is. It doesn't beg to be remembered. It just stays. It lives in their thoughts, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, in the memories they try not to revisit but always circle back to. You might think they've moved on. You might believe they forgot. But let me tell you, a heart that has once received genuine love will always carry a trace, no matter how strong their pride is, no matter how far they go. Because people remember how you made them feel, especially when those feelings were rooted in truth, patience, and sacrifice. There's no escaping something that touched your spirit. They may try to replace you, but comparisons will follow. They may date others, but they'll notice the difference. Because what you gave was not surface level. It wasn't transactional. It was deep. It was whole. It was love that had no conditions. You can't erase something like that. Time may dull the edges, but the core memory stays intact. And sometimes they'll hear a song, walk past a familiar place, or even see someone smile. And suddenly your love flashes before their eyes. That's the kind of love that lingers long after the world thinks it's gone. Time has a way of moving forward, and people eventually go their separate ways. Life shifts, routines change, and faces become memories. But even as the world keeps spinning, there are certain moments, certain feelings, and certain people that never truly fade. When you've touched someone's heart with love that was pure and genuine, it doesn't matter how far apart you grow, the memory of that love stays alive. It lives in the small spaces, in the pauses between distractions, in the stillness after chaos. You might not be around, you might not even speak anymore, but the essence of what you gave them remains. That kind of love doesn't vanish when circumstances shift. It becomes part of who they are. It's like a scent they can't wash off, a warmth that returns unexpectedly in the coldest of moments. People often think they can replace love or bury it beneath a new chapter, but true love doesn't go away just because a new page was turned. It lingers, not because it's desperate or unfinished, but because it was real. And the heart knows the difference between what was felt deeply and what was convenient. There's always a moment, sometimes in the dead of night, sometimes in a quiet afternoon, when the memory returns uninvited. And when it does, it's not just the image of your face they see, it's how they felt when they were with you. It's the peace, the safety, the way their soul settled next to yours. Even if they never say it, even if their pride won't let them admit it, their heart never let go. The love you gave them was more than a season. It was a lesson, a home, a mirror. And no amount of distance can take that away. Men don't forget the kind of woman who gave them love without keeping score. It's easy to remember drama, to recall the arguments and the chaos, but it's the peace that stays with a man the longest. When a woman shows up with honesty, with warmth, and with no hidden agenda, just real, consistent love, that leaves a mark. It may not be obvious at first. Some men don't even realize it in the moment. They think they've got time. They think they'll always have access to you. But when she walks away, when that pure love is no longer available, reality hits hard. Because he starts to feel the difference. He starts to realize what he had wasn't ordinary. And that's when the reflection begins. He remembers the quiet way you understood him when he couldn't explain himself. He remembers how you stood by him when he had nothing to offer but his potential. That kind of support, that kind of patience, it doesn't come around twice. And he knows that. He might try to fill the space with other people, might distract himself with work, might even act like he's better off. But the truth is, deep down, he's comparing everything and everyone to what he once had with you. It's not about ego. It's not even about regret. It's about a man being confronted with something rare, a love that didn't ask him to be perfect, just present. And that's a kind of love that humbles a man. It teaches him more than any loss or failure ever could. So even if he never says it out loud, even if his pride gets in the way, you're still there. In his memory, in his story, in his heart, always. You don't need to chase someone you gave true love to, because the kind of love that comes from the soul doesn't need reminders. It speaks for itself. You showed up for them fully. You didn't play games. You didn't wait for them to act right before you gave your best. You simply loved with kindness, with depth, and with everything you had. And when love like that walks away, it leaves a silence that can't be ignored. They might act like they're unbothered. They might stay busy, act cold, or pose like they've leveled up. But deep down, they feel the absence, not just of your presence, but of the feeling that came with you. Because love like yours doesn't just fill space. It brings peace. It brings warmth. It brings clarity. And once someone has felt that, Nothing else measures up the same way. You gave them something they didn't even know they needed. You gave them love that didn't demand perfection but offered patience. You gave them grace when they didn't deserve it. And the most powerful thing you did, you walked away with dignity. That silence, that distance, it's louder than any message you could have sent because it forces them to sit with what they lost. It makes them see what they didn't value when they had it. You don't need to speak badly about them. You don't need to prove your worth. The love you gave already did that. And if they ever grow enough to reflect honestly, they'll realize it wasn't you they lost. It was a version of themselves that couldn't handle the kind of love you brought. So don't chase. Don't explain. Real love doesn't vanish. It lives on in their heart, whether they admit it or not. The silence you give after true love is gone can echo louder than anything you ever said while you were there. When you loved someone deeply with everything in you and they didn't value it, your absence becomes a powerful presence. It's not about revenge, bitterness, or trying to teach them a lesson. It's about finally choosing yourself. It's about walking away, not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself enough to let go of what no longer served you. And when that silence settles in, it speaks to them in ways your words never could. They hear it in the moments when life slows down, when the distractions fade, when the people around them don't understand them the way you did. That silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to reflect, to think, to remember. Because love, when it's pure, doesn't die when it ends. It transforms. It becomes a memory that lives in their mind and heart, playing back scenes of what used to be, not just the moments, but the feeling of being loved that deeply. And your silence, your graceful distance carries all of that. It reminds them of what they had, and more importantly, what they didn't appreciate. You didn't beg, you didn't chase, you didn't shrink yourself. You simply disappeared. And in doing so, you created space for them to feel the full weight of losing something real. That kind of silence lingers. It whispers when the world gets quiet. It becomes the answer to their confusion, the consequence of their choices, and the proof that you love them deeply, but you love yourself enough to lead. And that is something no heart that's been touched by real love will ever truly forget.